It is not a happy Monday. It's just a Monday. I am, much as I bitched and moaned about being flame broiled for 4 months out of the year and here in Vegas, I am absolutely fucking sick of this rain. Heat raises your power bill. Wind messes things up. Cold doesn't do anything, would make you turn on the heater or two. Rain fucks everything up. I got leaks that I gotta get fixed now that are in new places that weren't leaks before. My store is back to being Niagara Falls again. I gotta have the landlord fix that. I am absolutely fucking sick of this rain. You know. So come summertime, I'm going to whine just a little bit less about 1,000 degree, inferno. Because like I said, on the worst heat day I go inside, I flip on the air conditioner. The rain floods shit. It destroys shit. It turns my Cuban Missile Crisis era building into a water strainer. And I guess we just can't fix the roof permanently because I don't know why. And it didn't even have to rain a little bit for me to get a bucket full of water. I had to send my employee today because I wasn't there today just to change. We weren't open on Monday, but just to change out the buckets. The fucking desert, man. I don't need this much rain.
Yeah, well, how cold is that right
This city was not built for this shit. When they built Las Vegas, when they built Southern Nevada, they were not thinking about Noah's fucking Ark.
now?
Like I said, any other working condition, I'm okay with. Some may piss me off more than others, but they don't damage shit. Wind, kind of, but not much. Once you got battened down everything and get everything from outside, you're fine. You might blow a trash can down the neighborhood. But this city was not built for it. It floods like that. Even with all the added, our worst floods were in '99, where we had to airlift people from their cars because they tried to go into the underpass and it was too big, or the water was too deep. And we've been slightly and slowly, building drain ditches, but most cities have that built in because that's what cities do. We kind of did it just a little bit on the late side, and even still, it's not anywhere near where the Vegas infrastructure is not anywhere near where it needs to be as far as this goes. And who knows if this is a new normal with climate change and everything else? It might rain like the dude. I have been here since '93, and we did not have this kind of rain here. We did not. That shit that went to in September, where we had that deluge that shorted out my ceiling and all blew up all the wiring and fucked up the air conditioner. That was unheard of. So obviously shit's changing, and this city's is not prepared for it. So yeah, I need this fucking rain to end. How are you doing, Brad?
Okay, it's still very cold, nationwide, but you're getting rain on top of that.
Yeah, and another thing, fuck snow too. I have no use for snow. I have no use for anything that's done in snow. Skiing. Hey, William, why don't you come skiing with us? No. Anything that you have to wait for bad weather to participate in, I'm not doing. All right. Where do I need to go? I need to go somewhere where there's seasons and less rain. I don't know where at because everything is shifting and changing. The places that used to be dry and arid are not dry and arid now. I'm sitting in the desert and here I am, and they're all celebrating. Oh wow, the drought's over. Look how much we can bury the barrels in Lake Mead now. The mob can go back to work because Lake Mead now is a little bit higher. I mean, no use to me though. And then we got a fresh coat of snow across the mountains. The mountains mean nothing to me. I don't go in the mountains. I don't go in the forest. I go in the city folk. That is what I am. Bad weather, hiking, all that. Nah. Just like I don't fly in those single engine planes, jet aeroplane or nothing at all. I don't do the crazy shit and I don't go in the crazy places. But guess what? The crazy weather has come to me. Look at that. You can hear that shit dripping from. God damn it. Okay.
Well, you're annoying. You're upsetting me there with the whole thing that what you said about snow because I can count on one hand, how many snow days I had as a kid, and that's just that's no, that's not no.
I
I
wanted
need snow in my life.
I grew up in LA. It did not snow out there once in my entire time I lived out there, and I was grateful for it. I mean, and it rained in LA, but not. I mean, it was spread about. I mean, in California, I mean, before climate change, you had seasons. You had fall. We had like fall for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You have winter. You have spring. Spring here lasts 8 hours, and then summer, which is everything. But like I said, in this particular autumn, there's been a lot more rain and overcast than I ever remember being here, and I'm like, what the hell, man? So no skiing, Larry, no
Yes,
skiing.
but of course, as we all know, it's on me.
I wish there was somebody I could choke the shit out of about this. I can't. It's just Mother Nature. I mean, damn. I mean, like I said, you
Yeah,
can't.
you just sit over.
What's up?
Clint, you just sit over the keyboard, just waiting for the perfect opportunity to type that every time.
It probably has it typed out before the show even starts. It just hits enter.
Yeah.
It just hits enter. Yeah, this is gonna rain all night. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? Like I said, most of your streets in Vegas, there are streets in Vegas that don't even have sidewalks. They didn't want people to build sidewalks there. So those streets, like Torrey Pines, just floods into the rest of the other streets. And it doesn't take that much rain because when you don't have the proper gutter situation, it doesn't matter how much rain is. It's just gonna fucking, there's nowhere for it to go. You're like 20 detention bases behind other major cities. So yeah.
Fortnite says this is what Dortnite has to say about that.
Yeah, there you go. Forever. Listen, droughts. You know what? Like, I don't. Hey, enough. Damn it. All right, so let's say hi to the chat before we jump into our really quick, very weird True Detective. This show is getting just weirder and weirder, and they fuck a lot in this show. And the people in this show have fucked everyone. I'm gonna get to that. I'm like, wow. I guess it's a small town in Alaska. You really don't have many options, but damn. Like all the main characters have like, shit. I mean, and the one main character is like said, fuck it. And she's like, I don't know, chief of police, I mean, do what you got to do, but it's just weird because that kind of stuff in a major city would be inappropriate. But when everybody, I mean, you're in Alaska. It's not like you're going to the nightclub to visit the tourists. They're not coming. So, all right. Well, let's say hi to the chat.
Yeah. Aaron says, "How's it going?" What? And she's saying, saying it to us up here. Who else
Hi, Aaron.
How's it going, Ruth? She also sends her condolences about the rain situation.
Yeah, me too. I hope it gets fixed. But didn't we have spring rains a lot? It's like, what
well, you also got another problem coming up. When you lose your hour again.
You know what? Be honest with you. As much as I hate having shit stolen from me,
you'll take that over the rain.
This is ridiculous, man. Like I said, first thing I gotta do when I open up the store tomorrow is empty out a fucking bucket. 2 buckets because it's leaking in the new space now. And every time they get up there, I watch them. I go out the parking lot and watch them out there with their little heat thing and their patch thing, and I'm like, and each time I know this is bullshit. I know you're up there fixing it, and I know full fucking well, and you know well that as soon as it starts sprinkling here, for some reason I have some interdimensional portal that turns sprinkles into a waterfall. I should have took a picture of that. The amount of water I got in that bucket, where the fuck did that come from? It was misting outside, and here I am, drip, 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 drip. And then at one point, it just poured. I'm like, okay, so what the hell? Am I getting all the water from the entire ceiling, from the entire plaza, rerouted into my little shit store? Thank you. Next.
Okay. Who else we got? Larry says, "Hey, William, why don't you come skiing with us?" No, perfect quote.
No, I've been asked to go skiing with people. I mean, when I went to Italy one time, they wanted to go north and ski, and I'm like, "Are you out of your mind?"
Every December after Christmas, I always see Zack Snyder post that he's taking a skiing trip on Vero.
No. Skiing is what you do to get away from avalanches. And
fun.
Like I said, I find a way to. I just no. How you doing, Fun?
Let's see. How's it going, Austin?
Oh, Austin's here with me with this shit.
Oh yeah, dealing with all the. Aaron needs a. Is that a reboot you would tolerate?
Nah, I just wouldn't be in it. The movie was kind of silly. Jack Palance won an Academy Award for that, which I can't believe.
That was also because I also had that was like one of Daniel Stern's things before Home Alone, right?
Yeah, Billy Crystal's in that.
Yeah. Oh, actually, a little bit of a plug. This might make a good watch party at some point. Is anybody William or anybody in the chat? Anybody you familiar with the well, maybe not William because it is a comedy, but anybody familiar with the movie Bushwhacked?
I've heard of it, but I don't. That's
Yeah.
about all I know.
Yeah, he's the plays this delivery guy who gets framed for murder, and he's going on the run. He gets kind of, long story short, he kind of gets in the situation where he gets confused for a scout leader, and he ends up taking these scouts through the mountains while he's trying to clear his name. So it's actually pretty funny. It's him, basically doing his Marv kind of routine in in a new setting. In fact, there's chatter on there's talk online, or there's like a rumor that apparently it was originally going to be a spinoff from Home Alone. It's like a spinoff on Marv. So I think I could have been down for that. That's kind of my headcanon for it, actually.
By the way, guys, if you want to support the boat, literally the mothership, water, I posted the link and it's tied to the top of the chat. If you want to help me buy an extra bucket or some more roof patch, or some kind of reverse rain dance, voodoo witch doctor or something, because that's my next step. Fuck putting a curse on hockey teams. I need to reverse the one that follows me with shit weather. Fuck.
God, need to stay warm somehow in Alaska.
Apparently, but damn. I mean, like I said, and everybody knows everybody.
And Larry says you'll never catch me skiing either.
Right. Do it.
Clint says it barely rained here, although we need snow in Colorado.
Excuse me? Define barely rain. It's fucking raining now. Define barely rain. Swing that back.
Come on. There we go.
It's raining now. My shit is leaking now. My shit at the store is leaking. Barely enough. It rained enough, okay? It rained enough to fuck up everything. How about that? Because like I said, if you look at the amount of rain that's coming out of the sky and the amount of rain that's ending up in my buckets, that's a problem. So it rained enough, and we don't need snow. Listen, anywhere I'm at on the fucking map in the world, we don't need snow. So wherever William is at, you put the little pin there, we don't need snow. We do not need inclement weather. I don't live in Michigan. I don't live in the Antarctic. I don't do any of that. There's a reason why I never went to the Midwest and set up. I'm not shoveling my way out of anything. If whether you can show up to work or not, or school or not, depends on snow, that I don't need to live there. It gets 1,000 degrees here. We still got to go to work. So, yeah.
Oh, here's a good thing to maybe talk about, because this was kind of making the rounds in the news today. I guess Black Superman is still a go. What? And of course, the J.J. Abrams one that was greenlit by the old regime that they totally intended to make. That it was not in any way greenlit as a distraction from anything. But
well, they signed him to a contract, so they did intend to make. They signed him to a very large contract. They're both still on the hook for those events. So.
And to give a little bit of added context, and it's somebody asked James Gunn on Threads, Instagram, whatever, if that was still to go, if that was still happening. He said, yeah, that's still in development. Now there is sorry, take a drink of water there. There is we in film industry lingo, when they say something is in development, that can mean, there is a wide spectrum of what that can mean. It can mean like it's it's in the middle of scripting, to it can mean that they've had like 1 or 2 conversations in the office about it, and that's pretty much what happened with the whole Jason Momoa Frosty the Snowman thing.
That was a distraction, but you're talking about something that was actually signed. There's actually a contract in place, so sides can hold themselves to it. The Frosty was just something stupid that came up. No, it's probably going to happen, and you're asking the wrong guy. Whether he's not going to have any information for you. That was something J.J. Abrams. You think J.J. Abrams is going to answer to him over anything for anything? Like I said, J.J. Abrams, whether you guys like him or not, he's that level of Hollywood.
The first thing he's directed in almost 6 years now. If he
because when you're successful at what you did before, you become a producer and you run your own studios, and then people come to you.
I'm just wondering. I mean, did Rise of Skywalker really just break him that much?
Yeah, no. He didn't. He's not successful. People don't give a shit about things like that, and he's successful people. He's been busy. You look at all you got to do is pull up IMDb and look at the stuff he's actually involved in. He's no longer J.J. Abrams, the director anymore. He's J.J. Abrams. He's a Hollywood power now. You know, he's got his hands in a lot of things that just don't come over people's conversations, but he's involved. He's just busy. You know, that's. I don't think he lost one moment of sleep out of the Star Wars trilogy. Not one. Fans did, because that's what fans do. But you think J.J. Abrams said, "Whoa, my God, the Star Wars."
And by the way, anybody want to see something really wild? Because I quote tweeted DC Film News on this it's comment from James Gunn, and I'll read it off. I won't bring it up, but I'll read off saying, "So, in Elseworlds, Superman, distinctly separate from the DCU on his own, generally doesn't conflict with the overall DCU plan." And I used the GIF of Barry Allen going, "Who's going to say it? I'm not going to say it." So, yeah. So I'll let you guys kind of put two and two together about what I was being cheeky about there. But I mean, that was one of those posts I made that I can't even respond to like the amount of comments I've got, because that's just, positive, negative, everything in between. People just everybody had something to say on that. And it's like, and listen, everybody's got thoughts on it, but it just, I didn't even have to add a hashtag to that for some reason.
No, because everybody's waiting to be triggered. So everybody did exactly.
Well, I'm not trying to make anybody mad when
no,
I say
but
it.
they are going to respond to it, because they sit around waiting for somebody to make a post, and then they can respond to it. It's a business deal. It's a business deal that pre-existed this regime, and it's a contract that they're probably going to have to honor, one way or another. They're going to either have to pay him to do nothing, or they're going to have to get value out of that contract. He's not going to let them out of that contract. Yeah, I wouldn't fire them.
Well, I would hope he signed like a pay or play deal, because with how long they've been kind of sitting on that. But
yeah, there was it was a per project deal, not a year's deal. That's what people don't understand. So, they paid him to do nothing. No, they got time. Those projects are going to happen. They're going to happen, or they paid him for nothing, and they still have to continue to pay him out that contract. So,
well, like I said, so it was. I threw another little bit of an Elseworlds, a bit of commentary relating to other DC stuff that we've discussed on the show. So I'll just leave it at that. But again, we'll go look at my page on that, because I'm still getting comments and likes on it. It's like, and I was like, I'm just amazed that I wasn't expecting it to get that kind of response. It's one of those things where it's like, I'll do something like that where I'm not even like trying to like necessarily, this isn't even like me necessarily sticking my flag in the sand for like anything in particular I'm advocating for as a fan. It was intended more as a joke, really, but for some reason those just really tend to take off. So,
well, because it's words on the screen, and whenever you put words on the screen, there's no context. They can't tell whether you're joking or not. I mean, they're ready, man. They're ready. They're at the ready to respond to this stuff, because that's just what we do. But no, I mean, this should surprise no one. It should surprise no one that's probably going to end up happening.
I got one guy in particular who is like who is it just is sitting over a keyboard constantly. I mean, he was the one guy I think I tackled a few of my posts not too long ago, talking about like he was just waiting for he's like, oh, we're gonna find out they're canning Rebel Moon because they're not satisfied with how it performed, and it's like that's gonna be the end of his career. And it's like really, that's how you're occupying your time on social media, is just waiting for the downfall of a filmmaker.
Down is based on what? Based on what info? Like I said, we make ourselves look like absolute dummies sometimes, because we just believe anything some fucking moron types on the screen. It's not necessarily true all the time. Sometimes somebody will get lucky. If I tell you, oh, it's going to be raining in 5 fucking minutes, guess what? There's a good chance that I'm going to be right. I don't need to be smart. I don't need to be lucky. I just need to have some eyes, But people are like, they believe everything, like this whole everything. I mean, I don't even need to reach out and find. I mean, you're talking to a guy. And all you got to do is reply back sources. Just reply back sources and the question mark. And most of the time, you will not get a legitimate response. You will not get it'll be like, oh, well, my buddy on the inside, my buddy who's sitting on the
my buddy who's friend's cousin's.
Yeah.
Or no, that one gift from Ferris Bueller. It's like my friend's cousin's boyfriend, sister's girlfriend's, however far down the tree she goes there.
But that's what we do. We're so ready to be, to jump, and I'm like, I'm not jumping for this shit.
By the way, because Austin, he did and yeah, I didn't think you were upset by it, man. I'm not upset by the responses I got, and I posted that, and then I went to train for like 2 hours, and then I come back, and it's just, I just got inundated with everything. So it's like, I that's why I haven't even like really
the subject is still
replied other than just posting my Joker gif of him like setting off the bomb in the hospital. So it's like, because again, I've got about like 500 replies there. So.
Well, J.J. Abrams' Superman with Ta-Nehisi Coates and Black Superman. I mean, I think it's going to end up happening because it's contracted to happen. I don't think it's going to get. Now, how will it do? Who knows? I mean, who knows? I mean, I don't. There's nothing about it right now that anybody knows. There's a bunch of ideas. All these ideas that they've thrown around. If Ta-Nehisi Coates is still involved in it, then it most likely will be a Black Superman and Elseworld story. But what I read that it was going to be separate from the DCU, and if it's separate from the DCU, you're dealing with personalities that by virtue of the level of work that they're doing, like now, J.J. Abrams is a studio head. He has his own studio, pretty much, or a production company. He's a producer, and he talks to talks to executives. I don't think so. Whether that happens or not has no bearing on the DCU. If it happens, it's going to be separate. If it doesn't happen, I mean, but they're going to pay him. So it's like, yeah.
No, I get you, Austin, because he's clarifying. It's like, it's, and I didn't bring up like any your comment or anybody specifically because I just didn't want to like devote the whole stream to just like replying to everything there. But I just kind of wanted to say, just briefly mention like how that just how crazy that thread got. But no worries, man. It's like I didn't think
I'm looking forward to a Black Superman story, Elseworld story, as long as it's not a Black Clark Kent, because that to me, that's just, I don't want to see that.
Yeah, you said that again. It's like your preference would be either Val-Zod or Calvin Ellis, and again, Calvin Ellis.
Be honest with you, J.J. Abrams. If you're watching the show, and if you are, holy shit, if you're watching the show, you have this geek's permission. Don't use any of those.
Oh yeah, just do like make up just a whole new, completely different Kryptonian character.
Make up a whole new story. You're going to deal with a certain amount of hate no matter what. Every director, producer, creator is going to deal with 50% hate no matter what. You just got to monetize the other half and trust me, a Black Kryptonian, because Calvin Ellis' story, it's fantastical to the point where it almost reminds me of a more dignified Forrest Gump. He's everything, and he's president. And now he's
Superman. I just can never remember. It's like he's the one who's based on Barack Obama, right?
Yeah.
I
think it's cool, but I don't want a movie. Val-Zod was a little bit more. If I had to choose between the two, it would be that one. But like I said, if you're looking at your story and you're like, yeah, I want to do something a little bit, I want to do something on my own that's not based on either one of these subjects. Give me the basic elements. Give me Krypton. Give me Kandor. Give me Brainiac. Give me, this guy. And make it to where you can make it Elseworlds to the point where it's not Jor-El that sends his son. Maybe one of Jor-El's other scientists. A guy who wants to save his kid. Instead. And so is Kal-El after the thing and say, "Sorry, kid." I mean,
you could do that without it even being Elseworlds necessarily. You could do like another scientist like shot his son, to Earth.
Supergirl.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this Kryptonian, was a Black Kryptonian, but it's like he's still got the same powers in origins. So it's like the term Superman would still be applicable.
Or you shot him into, there was an experiment, and there's a whole bunch of things that where, they got to a portal back. There's a whole bunch of ways you could do it. I, for one, would love to see. I'm interested in seeing a Black Kryptonian that would rise to the level of that. You could do it to where it's in lieu of Clark Kent, and then you create your own one, or you could do it where it's just like Supergirl, or some other experiment, maybe something with Brainiac, or something happens to where they get to Earth in a different way, and things are different. You know, and now the S would be different. You'd have to explain that because that is obviously the symbol of the House of L. So does he get here as a Kryptonian and he's inspired by Superman because that's what he sees, or does he have his own symbol? Obviously, you'd want to be taking advantage of the name because it's the name Superman that you're applying to us. So I'm interested to see how they pull it off, and I'm interested in it. It's just like any of these other stories. I think there's going to be other situations like this, and I don't think anybody should get upset or be surprised.
Well, like you said, it's like if you do something like make a Superman black, then it's like you also have to kind of his origin story because of American history. You kind of you do have to adapt that to elements of, okay, this is what he would face, and just as a black man, but then also a black alien. So
yeah, and to me, and this is why I think that you should not make it. If you wanted to do a period piece where, he comes out and say if you did, because I know somebody had an idea of a period piece where he comes in the civil rights era. Anywhere you put us, it's going to be because since we're not always there yet, we're better than what my parents and my grandparents had it, but we still have some ways to go. And you would be taking advantage of the alien, paranoia type of thing to where, everybody thinks we're going to get invaded type of things. And then the same things, you'd have like a godlike complex, but you would be applying it.
Yeah. Like during if you did like civil rights, I mean, it'd almost be a thing like replacement theory on top of replacement theory.
Yeah. And this is a guy who could actually change the shape of the world. You had a lot of white supremacists in that era, and now they're looking at black supremacy from Krypton, and then polarizing black. But see, depending on who's raising him, like obviously Mom and Pa raised Clark Kent with a set of morals that were right and wrong. Where does he land? Does he land does he land in the city? Does he land? Who raises him, and what kind of values does he have? Because even superpowered or not, there is going to be still an element.
Aaron says we already have black. It's called Hancock.
Even if this person has these godly powers, you still are going to have a certain segment of society that's going to look down on him because of the color of his skin. That's not all of us. That's just a segment of society that just has a staying power that I don't know where they get it from. So you're going to have that as part of the story. You're going to have that as part of the story. You're going to have, depending on where he's at, where he's raised, all that's going to be part of the story. Depending on when they bring him in, if you were to bring him in instead of in 1938, they could do that because it's their own Elseworlds. Instead of 1938, Clark Kent lands in Smallville, Kansas. This guy lands in anywhere, and you could say, the guy who sends him, his father, would be like, we've been watching Earth because you remember Jor-El watched Earth, and I see what's going on there. I'm gonna make sure this damn ship lands somewhere where he's a little bit safer. We're not going to land him in 1938 Mississippi or Alabama. We're going to land him, in Harlem or somewhere else, or places where he won't be, they won't be able to harm him, but he'll want his son to grow up.
You want him growing up without being emotionally harmed or socially ostracized, and
he'll be able to blend in.
And by the way, Daniel, that is an absolutely no way.
All right, okay, I can't take it tonight, guys. I can't take you guys giving me crazy movies.
I want to speak to the commissioner. Duh, I'm a crime fighter.
Oh my God, I hate it. And Meteor Man, your next is Meteor. Somebody's already got to type in Meteor Man. I'm like, oh my.
Hey, but I'm leaning towards Brother Man.
Oh my goodness, that's what we have as far as that top line superhero. That's the kind of shit we had. I wanted Black Superman movie. I think it would be great. I think it would be great representation because, like I said, the world that Clark Kent grew up in is not the world that Black Superman will grow up in, and I think it's good to explore the commonality of America but still recognizing the different paths that have gotten us here. I don't think you could ever have this kind of harmony or coexistence if you cannot respect where either what any ethnic group has gone through to get to where they're at in America. So I think that movie would be, and that would be the story of the movie. It would be like, you know what?
I don't know. For me though, it's like I was always a little bit more high on like the Val Zod series that Michael B. Jordan wanted to do because he's that sounded also pretty interesting to me. And I mean, his was what
we
he's
don't
done.
know anything about it though.
Yeah, I know, but like, but he's also like what he's done with like the Creed movies, and of course, his portrayal of Killmonger. It's like he's really.
He wouldn't do, but you couldn't. You would. You
I know
wouldn't
he's
be
not.
able to base. You wouldn't be able
Yeah,
to.
I know
base
he's not going to be like playing him as Killmonger, but
yeah, but there's really nothing in his resume that would lead that would lead me to believe that he would be any particular different way. I mean, it would be good. I'm with Val Zod. I mean, you don't have to adapt Val Zod's exact origin. I mean, you don't. I just don't want to see somebody do a Black Superman movie and be pigeon-toed by necessarily, since he doesn't have that type of history. It's different when you're talking about the characters that have been around 50, 60, 70 years. If you put a Black Superman out there and you did an original one, I think people will be fine. I'm a comic guy. I'm like, oh, you didn't use Val Zod or Calvin Ellis. How dare you? No. Put a S on a black man's chest. You're breaking down a cultural barrier right there. Leave the details for the super nerds and the 3%ers who are going to make up 3% of your audience, because that other 97 to 98%, they're going to do just like what they did for Black Panther and just like what they'll do for Miles Morales when it comes out. That type of representation, and you have that. It does matter. People try to downplay it, and it does matter. It does matter. Like I told you before, we've been promoting movies for years until we had Black Panther, and I can tell you. And when I look around and when I'm sitting in the theater, we're not a very large percentage of the audience. But when Black Panther came out, we were almost half of the audience. That matters. And then when it comes to relatability of Miles Morales, trust me, his ethnicity is a big part of his relatability to a lot of kids that are going through that right now. So I don't need it to be Val Zod. I really hope it's not Calvin Ellis, but I don't need it to be either one of those. If he came and said I want to do an original story, and here's what I want to do, I would be just as open to that as anything else,
Yeah, but I'm not going anywhere. Gosh darn it! Until I see the commissioner.
You know what? And here's the thing: the reason I just have so much disdain for movies like that is because it's a blown opportunity to actually do something better, and they don't.
Yeah,
I call it buffoonery. I hate it. I understand anybody got to laugh, but you know what? Look how long it took us to get a black headline superhero.
Yeah.
I was in my 40s by the time that happened, but I had Meteor Man. I had Blake Man,
and you also had. Don't forget, you had other guy in Black Man.
I had Steel. I had all that shit, but I in my lifetime I had to wait till Black Panther came out to have a major budget. And don't stop it with the blade. I know it's coming. Major budget,
ass,
real,
but it was not sold the same way as Black Panther.
That was part of a major franchise. That was a major character. That was not a Strange Tales derivative character that may have gotten his own book canceled every now and then. The Black Panther, one of Jack Kirby and Stan Lee's original sketches that they ever made. That guy. So it took how long did it take that? How many Meteor Man?
Wesley Snipes was trying to get that done before he did Blade.
Yeah, and there's a reason why it didn't happen, because you probably weren't going. If it wasn't for the MCU, you probably wouldn't have a Blade.
Black Panther in like '97. Yeah, that wasn't going to take off the way that it did in 2018.
So, there you go.
Aaron said. Says that. Yes, Aaron.
I've never seen it.
We're like two pieces. Oh, should I pull up this one scene?
No.
Okay. Well, we're
just trying to get us kicked off.
Okay.
Hold on. Here, let's do this. Since you want, that's what's gonna happen.
Okay, so I'll just describe it. He's being chased by the FBI guy and the real scout leader, and the kids say, "Okay, I gotta pee." And so he takes them over this cliffside, and they piss off the side of the cliff. And the FBI guys are underneath them. He gets pissed off by those kids. And at first he thinks, oh, it's like a little bit. That's some cool mountain rain. That's just what I needed. And he finds out too late. Oh yeah, that's not what you thought it was, dude. So
I don't know if The Dark Knight broke Chris. Chris Terrio is an Academy Award winning.
no, he's talking about Rise of Skywalker. So
Yeah, but even still, though, I mean, some of these guys go without scripts because they can't. There's just the work isn't there sometimes.
Well, of course, I mean, ZSJL that came out after Rise of Skywalker. So and of course that's because remember he was saying like during the making of JL, it's like, hey, you want to use some of what I wrote? So that was definitely a lot of a vindication for him, of course, as he said the Full Circle events. So I would imagine
your mantle with an Academy Award on it.
Oh yeah, and
get work.
There's also the as Austin points out, there was news today that Scott Stuber, he's departing. He's like the current head of Netflix, but he'll be departing in March, and he's like forming his own studio or company or something. So
why wouldn't that not be great? Why would that?
Well, I think what he's getting at, because I mean Stuber. Well, they have a history together to start with, because Stuber was with Universal at the time that Zach did Dawn of the Dead, and so they already had that built-in relationship with Zach went over to Netflix. But now it's like, okay, if he's departing, is Zach losing like big advocate there?
Only if the next guy has a different philosophy, and I don't think that Netflix is going to do that. Netflix is not going to put somebody in there that goes counter to what is working. They're going to find a guy, if they can clone Stuber, they'll do it. But they're going to find a guy with that same philosophy. Why? Because it's working. What Scott Stuber did was working. He's not leaving because things weren't working. He's going to do his own thing. But trust me, and he'll probably, I bet you anything, he might handpick his own successor. Or he might have a conversation. I mean, he's not leaving on. From what I understand, he's not leaving on bad terms. Correct? He's just leaving. Yeah, so he's probably going to have a big say, and he replaces him. So I'd
imagine. Yeah. Yeah, they might even pick like somebody. Zach might even give an endorsement to whoever he's going to appoint to take his place. By the way, people are also, you're listing off like all the black superheroes from like the 90s, like between Blank Man to Black Panther. That were that
could be a documentary from Blank Man.
You also mentioned, of course, Spawn.
Spawn, yes, but not on the level of because remember when Spawn got a movie like that. Spawn hit 92.
Yeah, that's probably the quickest turnaround, I think.
5 years later,
I can think about from the comic book debut to getting his movie. So.
And as popular as Spawn was, he wasn't Superman popular. He wasn't Spider-Man popular. He was popular. I mean, sold a lot of books, but by the time that movie came out, the comic book went busted, and including for Image too. I'm surprised that movie got made.
Yeah,
I'm really surprised that movie got made for what it was. For what Spawn was, and when it was, that's a high quality movie. Yeah, you can make fun of it, but you're
the CGI definitely does not age well.
Yeah, but it's 1997. We weren't.
We
didn't even have bullet cam.
It felt like Infinity War at the time, definitely.
Yeah, it's like I mean, I thought it was why, but Spawn wasn't that level of character amongst the general public. Nerds, we were eating that shit up, dude. I love Spawn.
It did, because I'm looking at the Wikipedia. It didn't even do it did like 87 worldwide, so it didn't even break 100.
No, because nobody knew who Spawn was.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but I mean, CBMs. I mean, they just didn't have the foothold that they do now.
Well, yeah, it's just recognizability. I didn't think it was the worst movie in the world, but
of course, Spawn helped kickstart Michael Jai White's career, so that is always is a very big plus. Its legacy.
Yeah, I like I said, when it comes to major superhero movies, we're in the mid to late 2000s. That's where my era starts. Because we didn't,
I think so. You're talking about the modern era, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, whenever the hell they can get this reboot off the ground, it's got to be rated R. That is non-negotiable.
But I don't want JJ's Superman. I take more of his Kelvin timeline. Trek outside of the Trek generation was pulled. Oh yeah, okay. I mean that's fair enough. Trek nerds, before you shit on JJ Abrams, understand you don't have Trek after 2005 without him. Old Trek fan, Remember when you choked Star Trek to death and made sure that it wasn't breathing when you left its dead carcass out in the middle of nowhere? When you pulled down that really tiny Star Trek shirt over your belly? Remember when you did that? When you killed Star Trek? He bought it back. Now, he may not have bought it back in the way that everybody loved it, but guess what? Nobody, and this is from a Trek fan, nobody was talking about Trek on that level from 2005 to 2008. And without him breaking through and cultivating a Trek audience, and then Discovery coming along, another show, old Trek fans seem to, this is not Star Trek. I can't believe you. Let me hit you with my Bible of Roddenberry. How dare you blasphemy? And I'm like, listen, dude, you want it to die? You want to finish the job? Or do you want Trek to be out there for your kids and your grandkids? Listen, the shit's going to change no matter what genre that you're in, whether it's wrestling, Star Trek. Listen, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in wrestling. I'm like, what the hell? That was stupid. It's not for me. It works for the audience that's out there right now. And when it came to JJ broke through because he had that kind of credibility. That's what I mean when I say JJ Abrams is one of those guys. He's the kind of guy that can come to you and say, this is what I'm doing. And that's it. This is what I'm doing. That's it. I'm going to reroute your timeline. So all you guys out with those Bibles saying I can't do this, I just did it. And I did it in a way that you can't touch me now because I've just put you in here and I got this yacht. And you can either stay on the yacht with me or you can get in this little itty bitty boat and we float you off to wherever. And they decided they were going to get on the boat. Now, those first two movies were good. The third one was kind of lame. But people, the general public was talking about Star Trek in ways that they were not after the end of Enterprise. And then same thing on Discovery. I hear so much moaning and whining about it's woke. Star Trek's been woke since '67. But it's everything under the sun that's evil, right? But they love Strange New Worlds. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. You realize that they were a guest appearance on Strange New Worlds, and that's how you got that, but never mind. But yeah, I listen, I thought that's a fair compliment or a fair criticism about J.J. Abrams. I have watched J.J. Abrams since the Alias days. I'm a believer in J.J. Abrams' ability to tell a story. Is it going to hit all the time? No.
Well, it didn't hit a Cloverfield for you.
No, exactly. But it hit with Fringe. If you guys haven't watched Fringe, you're robbing yourself. Fringe is one of the best shows Fox ever did. And it was so good that people thought Fox was in the business of acting anything good. Anything good, they would just, fuck it. We got NASCAR, we got football, let's just do that. And no, people fought so that Fringe could get its fourth season, and it was able to wrap up on its own. And that's that kind of power J.J. Abrams had. But like I said, it was, he's a mass producer now. I think he would do a good job with Superman. I believe in him in that kind of story, Jerry.
Yeah.
Hold on. Unless the Black Superman movie is still in the 60s talking about the KKK.
In the same series. I think in the same series.
Who knows? It could be. It could be. More than likely will be a modern day, because like I said, we still got some issues as a country. They're getting better. And you can't, people tell me, it's just the same as it was back. No, it's not. It is not. My grandfather joined and was drafted into a segregated United States Army. 50 years later, I joined a completely integrated and desegregated army. My grandfather came back, and there were still places he couldn't sit and he couldn't drink and he couldn't go. When I come back from there, I'll be damned if you tell me I can't go anywhere, and I'll have all the legal backing in the world to back it. So things have gotten better. They're not all the way there yet, and so that's part of your story. But I think kind of story like that would be good to tell, because I think that, like I said, I'm not a Republican by any means, but that speech that Ronald Reagan gave about the house on the shiny hill, our shiny house on the hill, was one of the most inspiring speeches I've ever heard a politician give. And it's about America being an ideal. It's not a race. It's not a place. It's an idea. It's an idea that any society coming from anywhere and can buy into when it's done right, when it's done up to its potential. And that's the kind of superhero story I would like to see, to be honest with you. But they did KKK. I'm still going to watch it.
Well, Aaron really liked Spawn. It was lit. My brother had some of the merch for it. Yeah, that was.
I still do.
Because that was the one. Have I shared the story on here? I'll go ahead and share it right now, and then probably after that I need to let William kind of go ahead and get in on True Detective because he wanted to share his thoughts on that. But I think I mentioned before that I was born to, I think, the only parents in the world who actually took MPA rating seriously. So yeah, when I wanted to see up until I was about 13 or 14, that was when I finally, the shack was kind of loose in there as far as our ratings. But prior to that, it's like, man, I had to fight tooth and nail for. But the two that I always had to fight the hardest for, and I'm gonna show this to my mom tomorrow because I loves it whenever I embarrass her with this story, and same with my dad. The two I had to fight the hardest for were Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, specifically where De Niro is Frank is the and Branagh, one of them, and Spawn, even though Spawn was not R rated, and Frankenstein, that was, my mom would not let me see that because she had gone back to, when my sister and I were born, she had gotten out of college to raise us for a little while. Then she went back, and she was she was an English major, and as she had gone back, there was she took a course like classics of English lit, something like that, and one of the books they were in there was Frankenstein, and at the time that was when the movie was coming out. So her professor said, okay, for extra credit, go see the movie. So she did that. And then my dad, had seen Spawn when he was out in the in the field, just out doing like weekend training, be away for like a week or whatever it was. I'm sure you did plenty of that, William, or I'm sure your dad did too. But he would do that periodically. We called it being in the field. And one of the younger soldiers brought along Spawn because it had like come out recently at that time. So that's how my dad saw it. And my dad wouldn't let me see Spawn because he thought, mainly because he thought that Leguizamo the clown was disgusting, which, to be fair, yeah. But the thing about it, my dad, definitely didn't realize, and I've told him since then, is that, having read Spawn comics and seen the animated series, is that the movie is the most watered down Spawn we've ever gotten.
Yeah, read the comic.
Yeah, or the anime. Yeah, it's like, yeah, Dad, it's like you thought that was bad. And then my mom, I think I mentioned, she is, again, somebody who does. She's the anti Ruth. She's like, I'd love to like bring her on a stream with Ruth at the same time because they are so polar opposites as far as like how they handle gore. It's like Ruth is a gore hound. My mom is very gore averse. And to hear her describe Frankenstein, she made it sound like this was like if the Texas Chainsaw Massacre had a baby with Cannibal Holocaust. So that was those two. I had
Frankenstein. Though, was it Sting's Frankenstein or?
Say again?
Was it the original Frankenstein?
No, it was the one with Kenneth Branagh and Robert De Niro in '94. Yeah, that was that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had to fight for probably like a year straight on both those, and so I finally did. And then when I got to Frankenstein, again, she sold it as, she sold it like, this is what William or Ruth would love. It's like it's full like the 3Ds. She made it sound like this is the biggest bloodbath ever. And the first time I saw it, I think I was about 12 or 13. And again, you guys, most of you probably would have seen where you're like 7 or 8. Everybody I know, but I see it at that point, and my immediate reaction was like, "That's it." I mean, she made it sound just the goriest thing ever, and it's got a heart rip in it. It's got some bloody moments, but again, it's like I've seen before.
That movie was less violent than Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I mean, it didn't have that kind of violence in it.
So. Well, yeah, and I point out to her, it's like I saw it when I was 7. Saw Temple of Doom, my first heart rip. It's like, and you thought I wasn't prepared for Frank, but no, she blocked me for that for so long. And then my dad, same thing with Spawn. So, and again, like I said with him, it's like I've since told him, it's like, Dad, I've read the comics and I've seen the HBO show. It's like you don't even understand like how much they really PG-13 the Spawn universe. Yeah, so
graphic what he's doing, with kids. So
yeah, and the kicker for that for me is anybody who's ever watched the '97 Spawn trailer, the soundtrack they use in it is the soundtrack for Frankenstein when he brings the monster to life. So you will not convince me that the universe wasn't screwing around with me in some way with both of those.
Still is screwing around with you, Bradley.
Yeah.
Yes, I did watch that promo. I thought it was pretty good. Two of the best guys on the mic as far as talking under things like that. I liked it. Probably one of the best ones he's done so far because of the history between them and AEW and everything else. So yeah, I enjoyed that. I still, now that Seth Rollins has come out, I still think it's going to be Seth Rollins going up against what's his face? Why can't I'm drawing a blank right now? Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and it's going to be depending on what happens. I still think The Rock's going to make his way into that main event, but I think it's going to be Cody versus Money for the title, and then The Rock versus Roman Reigns for the actual main event of night 2.
But sorry if that was a little bit long-winded there, guys. But it's like every time it's like I get an opportunity to share that story, I just love sharing it because it's like it's my favorite battle for an R rating, or R-rated access from my childhood that apparently nobody who's like an acquaintance or a friend of mine has ever had to go through.
According to PW Insider reports, is that Drew McIntyre has yet to sign a new contract at WWE. If a deal doesn't reach, McIntyre can be a free agent after WrestleMania. I think he might be a free agent after WrestleMania. Yeah, I think he will be. And I don't know where he's going to go, but I'm surprised he hasn't signed. I'm surprised he hasn't signed yet, because he's really this. You really don't want to have unsigned people that might end up in your main events that are just not signed, because you really can't do much. I wouldn't be surprised if they're close. True Brit movie. Okay. There really wasn't much of a. I mean, there really wasn't much of a. The way that story wrapped up, I don't know if you could do more. I don't know. Maybe that'll be Will Smith's. It'll be Will Smith's comeback movie.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to this weird ass show that I'm watching called True Detective season 4. All right, so we left off with them finding all those bodies frozen together. For those of you who are not watching, I'm not going to go too spoiler. I'm just going to give you the basic premise of wow. So we open up with them discovering these bodies of the scientists that they were looking for in the first episode. They're all naked and they're frozen, and they would appear to have gone out there voluntarily, and they would have appeared to have seen something or hallucinated or something, because they're one guy was scratching his eyes out when he was frozen. The other one was scratching and ripping his skin off. They appear to be under some type of influence that we can't find. So they ended up transporting the bodies to a hockey rink to let them thaw out. And then when they do this, they realize one of the people that was in the experiment or in the research lab is missing. So now they're looking for him. In the meantime, one of the emblem that you keep seeing on the previews, the little spiral, was a tattoo that the missing guy had gotten on his chest. And it's a tattoo that the girl who had been murdered a couple years, now that they're finally figuring out that her case is connected to it somehow, that she had that tattoo as well. And they find out that they got the tattoos together. Also, by the way, one of the people that were frozen, while they're chipping away and like breaking off pieces, one of the guys alive, which scared the shit out of me because he starts screaming, and it's so creepy. So yeah, what else happened in this episode? The chief, you get to learn a little bit more about the chief. So basically, everybody in town has hated her because she's a bitch. Plus, she's kind of slept with people's spouses and mates at some particular time. There's a guy that's played by the 8th Doctor, by the way, Christopher Ellerson, Destro. He is actually he's part of like the state police or something like that, but he's the one who put her in that position, and he wants to take the case back up to Anchorage, which is the capital, which was where all the all the headquarters are. She's like, no, I want to keep it. He's like, why? You just want to fuck with me, right? He's like, no, it's it's a case, because they all know each other, they all have a history. And then she pulls out a regulation, and so she's going to keep the case. That's long story short. I'll let you watch it. So halfway through the show, guess what? Guess. She shows up at the dude's house, and I obviously she's over there to do them, and they do it. Jodie Foster still got it. She's doing it, and then so there's all kinds of crazy conflicts of interest. But yeah, apparently, and then Navarro, her partner, she's even crazier. She's banging the bartender and getting information out of him, but it's all connected to this murder that happened to this mining activist a couple of years later. And like I said, it's a weird show. The they all start having these imagery. But here's the thing now, I found out a way to explain the imagery too. They're all rolling blunts. They're all rolling blunts. So I'm thinking that they're high or something, but there's just a lot of imagery, a lot of hallucinations. And it's just a matter of them making the connection that they didn't want to make to this unsolved murder that caused a lot of problems in the town and got like a lot of people fired and shit. So, but it was an unsolved case. But now these miners, are these experimental guys that are missing. And then it turns out they were looking, their research had to do with prolonging life and all this. But there's still not a lot of the story. They're still in the character development phase of this. Who, by the way, who in the chat is watching this show? By the way, is anybody watching? Let me see if anybody's watching it. Larry, are you watching it? Hold on, he is watching it. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Larry's watching it. Austin's watching it. Yeah, there were some Easter eggs in there. Yeah, Foster's character sleeping around seems very in tune with all the needs of any season of children. Yeah, there's that's the consistent thing with all the seasons. There's a lot of fucking. That's season one, season two, season three. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of fucking going on. Not as much as, like I said, season one where Alexandra Daddario basically strips down and handcuffs Woody Harrelson's character to a chair and bangs him. But there's a lot of going on in there. So, and these characters are really, everybody in this show is flawed. They all got some history. It's just weird. So, yeah, he's our captain, which is weird because she's the chief of police. So why would she have a captain? But yeah, I'm not going to let that detail. I thought they already revealed that. I thought they revealed that in the first episode. Yeah, he's still alive and out in the coma. And remember that she got a call. She got a call saying he's ready to talk. So you're going to start hearing from him. They had to amputate one of his feet. It just kind of sucks. What did I skip? I probably skipped a bunch of things. The episode. I'm horrible at reviewing things the day after because I usually don't. Like with Game of Thrones, I did it like right after the episode, but we were busy yesterday. This episode was great. Love the mystery, but it still feel like there's another twist coming. Just having Raymond, having it be Raymond. Yeah. That's yeah. It's you. Oh, he's the one missing. It's got to be him. Even though he's the one. I guess he's the one with the tag. He's the one that was acting crazy when he was doing all that shaking and said she's awake. And the he's probably talking about is Anna, the girl that got killed, stabbed 32 times. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
2 times.
Yeah, she's dead.
Yeah, I would expect so.
Yeah, but I guess the one cop that she hasn't pissed off yet is the one young guy whose father also works in the police department, and he came and punched his son because he stole the files from her the last episode. And he's like, she doesn't own you, But he's a weirdo. He's looking up his mail. He's like literally in the show being ripped off by his mail order bride. Says, please send me some money. Mama's, I can't wait till you get here. So it's funny. It's he's being scammed by some kind of mail order bride in Russia. It's going to take all of his money, but so he's flawed. Everybody in this show is flawed. So let's see. Yeah, he's going to be one of the ones that probably covered up the original death that happened years before. And he really don't he punched his son, but it was more of a, let's see. Could be part of Karoska Cold. The dad. Oh yeah, the dad was sus from day one. I had impact or something like that. Let's see. It's probably not supernatural. Whatever it is, polluted the water. Town is probably being used as a petri dish. At this point, I would go for that too. Yeah, they're just like I said, they're not making love. There's a difference between making love and just fucking. They're fucking in this show. That's just all there is. They're just like, you got anything going on right now? You don't, me do. Convenience. They're banging each other out of convenience, and like it's a small town with like not a lot of people to fuck. And even the teacher, not the teacher, but the lady who owned the ice rink because she needed to call on a favor with the lady who ordered the ice owned the ice rink and owned the mine, and even she had she's like the partner's like, that lady hates you more than she hates me. It's like, yeah, I may have slept with her husband at the time. I'm like, wow. So yeah, she's kind of like gotten everywhere. But I'm enjoying the show. It's a little vague still. Let's see, but yeah, keep hearing it's a messed up psychological horror. It's being praised as the best of 2023. Evil Lurks. I have not seen Evil Lurks. Somebody told me I need to get on that, right? I'm how lame I am about getting all that done. Yeah, the captain was involved, and all those guys. Everybody in there was either part of it or involved in covering it up because it's a mine ran town. All the money comes from the mine, so they don't want anything that would disrupt the mine. So, so yeah, that's gonna be a problem. That's one of the intrigues. So it's setting itself up. It's setting itself up to be pretty good. Like I said, I don't understand it all yet, and it's kind of like it gives you just enough to keep you coming back from the next episode. Okay, good. So we do have people here that are watching it. You're watching it too, Forth. What do you guys think of it so far? I want to hear your guys' opinion. What do you think about this season so far? I'll let you guys answer that. Let's see. Each season is its own story. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. The performances are like, I knew Jodie Foster's top flight. I mean, she's top Jodie Foster, but I really like her in this role. I like Navarro. Navarro, she's a barely new actress. She was a boxer before she was an actress. Obviously, I like Christopher Ellison's character. The fathers, they're all. You know what it is? They're all convincing. I actually, as zany as this show is, and this is the zaniest of all the True Detectives. The zany as this show is, and the Scooby Dooish as this show is, everybody in it, they're convincing about what they are and what they're going through. I can actually buy into this story. It's not so off the wall to where it's like, oh, that's stupid. Are you kidding me? I haven't had a "Are you kidding me" moment yet, even though I should, because all the one-eyed bear. The one-eyed bear is it's a vision that she's having, and then you see the one-eyed bear, the little teddy bear she had. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. So definitely like it so far. Them finding Van gave me big season 1 vibes. Definitely like it so far. It's hitting all the right notes. Episode 1 was better than episode 2. I'm excited for that. Yeah, it's kind of just like I said. I kind of look at it as one big place setting because now everybody's been introduced. Everybody that's going to play a part in this, for the most part, has been introduced. So all the major players are there. So, I don't know how. I think you got 8 more episodes left of this. So you have a long time for this. Is it 8 episodes? Hold on. I just assumed it was going to be 8 episodes or 10 episodes or 8 episodes. Detective season 4. Let's see. No, there's only 6 episodes of this. Well, we got to get to it then. All right. Development. All right. True Detective Night Country is the 4th season of True Detective, an American anthology crime drama television series created by Nick Palazzotto, which premiered on January 14th, 2024. By the way, it's still Christmas here. On HBO, the season is set in the fictional town of Ennis, Alaska, and follows an investigation behind the disappearance of 8 men from a research station. The season stars Jodie Foster as Callie Reese, a detective Jodie Foster and Kaylee Reese as Detective Liz Danvers and Evangeline Navarro. It's the first season to carry a subtitle. That's true. Isa Lopez serves as a showrunner, writer, director. So we're only getting 6 episodes. Oh, is that all? Did they all get 6 episodes? Actually, let's see. No, okay. Season 1 got 8. Season 2 got 8. Season 3 got 8. And season 4 got. So this is the first one that's gotten 6 episodes.
How many seasons is it all told right now?
This is the 4th.
Okay.
All right. The moment they mentioned the total organization, I felt like I needed a shower. Yeah, I thought it was 8 to 10. I don't know why I thought it was 10. None of them were 10, but yeah. I mean, it depends on the pacing, though. I mean, so now from this point on, the next 4 episodes, we got to get to it. You know what I mean? You only got 4 episodes. You gotta start establishing. And the episodes, though, I'll give them credit, are pretty long. They're over an hour. The one I watched last night, I think, was over an hour. So they're you're covering a lot of ground in these episodes. It's not like Disney shit, where it's like 30 minutes or something. Let's see, 4 episodes left. It's very intriguing so far. I hope it's longer. Yeah, they kind of like they have a thin line, but not a really thick line. So this is the first time I'm watching a show, so it'll be the first 3 seasons. Yeah, you can watch those without any. You don't have to worry about anything. So I'm having fun with it. So all right, so it's open question from for the next 15 minutes or so. Then we'll wrap it.
Okay.
Ask Brad anything.
You ask me how it's my fault.
Yeah. We're gonna monetize the shit out of that, though. We're getting T-shirts. Let's say that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for giving us that idea there, Clint. So far, it's a lot. I think we're pretty caught up there on everything about True Detective.
I love the show so far. I'm having a lot of fun with the show.
I'm just surprised nobody in the chat is making fun of me for being like the kid who had to actually fight to see R-rated movies at that age.
Well, no, because some of them probably come from backgrounds that had to go. It was a big deal. If you didn't have parents that were of that mindset, then those ratings meant something to them. I know people in California who couldn't go to the movies. Like my dad would invite his other. We'd be on base housing, right? And we would say, hey, whenever we went to whenever one of the parents went to a movie, they always asked like the other kids if they wanted to go, because you could trust those parents. They were all your Air Force buddies. They were all military. Yeah. So you know.
How's it going, Droga?
How you doing, Droga? So we would go to the movies, and there were certain movies like that like we go to see a horror movie, and they'd ask what the movie was, and we said so, and their parents would say, nah, we're not ready for that yet. So we had to respect that. But yeah, we would be living right next to people who were really strict on those ratings. And then you have my parents who are like, listen, they knew us. They knew my mindset. They knew I could separate what was on TV and what was on. I knew there wasn't a guy with a chainsaw going around cutting people up. I mean, I was not to emulate that. And we didn't, But other parents were different, and there's no wrong way to do it. It's just a lot of it's based on how much, just the kind of environment that you come from, what kind of environment that you're in, and what kind of characteristics or traits that you give off. To where, like, I never gave off a trait that where my parent would be like, some kids did. They were chasing their sisters around with the knife and the scissors, and you're like, okay, you're not going to go see Halloween Michael Myers. It's just that easy, So
yeah, I feel that. I don't think it was anything like that. I think it was just them just being protective.
That's true, and that's what parents do. I wouldn't say it sucks. I think it's not the best season, but I think that they were trying to capture season 1's magic instead of doing what they eventually did in season 3, and definitely in season 4, which is just tell your story. Tell your story, man. Yeah, same thing here. My mom wouldn't go to those movies, but my dad would. Go see Telephone Booth or Phone Booth. You want to see an actor where Keith Sutherland is a creepy motherfucker already, when it's just his voice? Telephone Booth is a really clever movie. It literally takes place in the telephone booth, and it's this guy who is Colin Farrell's character, who somehow he's told to go to the telephone booth and accept the call because and then he realizes that he's trapped in there, and there's a sniper that has a clear shot at the telephone booth, and he's blackmailing him. He's not blackmailing him, but he's been following and studying this guy, and he's a piece of shit. Colin Farrell's character is a piece of shit, and he's like trying to, you're a liar. He's just trying to make them to confess to all this stuff, and all the while, he's shooting people that would try to get to him. So he's definitely, it's Keith Sutherland. You don't see Keith Sutherland until the end of the movie, and what he's trying to do is he's like, you're cheating on your girlfriend, aren't you? He's like, you're doing all this crazy stuff. Why don't you? I'm about to shoot you. Don't you want to leave the planet with a clear conscience? And he can't get out of the telephone booth because the guy's got him dead eye. He can't move. And he's a very good shot. And so finally, he just comes. He calls his girlfriend. He's like, yeah, I'm a piece of shit. I'm this, I'm that, and I was hoping I would work it out to you, throughout time, but it looks like that's not up to me now because he thinks he's about to die. And then the guy, decides he's not going to, but he set it up to where the cops are all this time trying to find out where. Should I be spoiling? It was 2002, guys. This is a 22-year-old movie. Should I tell him how it ends, or should I not?
I mean, 2002, like you said.
Yeah. So anyway, spoiler alert. Here, I'll put the movie's called Phone Booth. It's Keith Sutherland. So this is what I'll do. So the guy ends up escaping. Something happens to where he shoots him, but not fatally, just so that he can cause a distraction and get away. And he has the rifle and everything set up in a room, a decoy. He's in another room. So when they bust into his room, he's not there, and he escapes. And as Colin Farrell is being loaded in the ambulance and being given all the dope and stuff to, all the anesthetics and all that, Keith Sutherland walks by him as he's being rolled into the ambulance, and he starts talking to him. He's like, go ahead and live a good life and all that. It's Keith Sutherland. So that's Colin Farrell's best movie, in my opinion. Now, he does great in The Penguin, don't get me wrong, but I think that's his best acting job. Yeah, 22 years old, man. It's a good movie, though. I went to go see it, and I didn't know what I was expecting, but I love Keith Sutherland, and I like Colin Farrell. Phone Booth, Aaron saw it.
Fourth calls me B-Rad. I was never allowed to watch In Living Color or Married with Children as a kid. It's like, and periodically that because I first got that nickname actually when I was I think I was probably a junior in high school. So like every 5 or 6 years, like that kind of like people who have never met each other who meet me kind of like it's like think like, oh yeah, they made that connection. It's like give me that nickname B-Rad. So yeah,
that's hilarious.
In Living Color, that was actually pretty. That was kind of pushing the boundaries for like
boundaries. It was pushing boundaries at a time where it was like, ooh, Homie the Clown doesn't mess around, and It's Raining Men. It's Raining Men. The two guys, 2 thumbs up and a snap. Those guys. They were doing a lot of culturally diverse stuff at a time where we were just getting used to that. So yeah, I loved Living Color. That's where J-Lo got her start. She was a dancer.
Jim Carrey got his start.
Yeah, Fire Marshal Bill. Let me tell you something. Yeah, that show was great. While it was on, came on right before The Simpsons or right after The Simpsons.
Yeah, well, and then those guys, then they went and did I am not a fan of the Scary Movie franchise, guys.
Neither am I. They're fun, but.
Oh no, they're well. Those were like really, especially.
I remember when they delayed the first one from being released. Because you want to know why they delayed it from being released?
Why is that?
Released? Because of Matrix that came out and the bullet cam effect came out.
Oh yeah, they
added that scene with their ghost face dodging and stuff. And they held that movie up, and because everybody was doing bullet cam at the time. So.
Well, yeah, everybody was trying to like do like some kind of knockoff or some kind of homage to it in that way. I don't like any of them. I don't like. I don't like the whole. I am not big on the parody or the spoof franchise because probably 95% of them suck.
Not 100%. Yeah, they wanted to make a movie out of that. Yeah, Damon Wayans or
Oh no, wait, was he the guy with the leaf blower who like
Yeah.
yeah.
And a lot of people got so pissed over that because it was
Yeah, that would not fly. There was so there was so much on that show that would not fly today.
Yeah, and they did not care. They just didn't. Fox
No,
backed it. That was back when Fox backed you. When
yeah.
Fox was not out to just cancel shit, they were out to just do whatever the hell they wanted to, because they had the Simpsons, and the Simpsons. Remember, the Simpsons had all kinds of stuff about it that people were protesting in school. So
Yeah,
you were trying to blame their badass kids on Bart Simpson.
I actually the Simpsons I actually did. I had to fight like I had to do like R-rated fighting for that, but I did encounter a little bit of resistance to that when I was the first couple of tries I tried when I was like it was 7. I probably around when I was like probably around 8. That's when I pretty much had free reign with the Simpsons, and that's like and that's good because I mean the Simpsons I was like that's my childhood there as far as like animation.
See, I was in high school. I was a sophomore in high school when the Simpsons came out. So I watched the first couple of seasons, and then I just because it was on Sunday night.
Well, pretty much everybody, the consensus kind of is also that the '90s really was kind of their sort of their golden age. And it's like, I mean, they're still running, but that was it's like the '90s and the Simpsons movie. That's people kind of tend to identify those as sort of like the peak of of the Simpsons.
Yeah, and you can thank Tracy Ullman.
Yes. Oh, speaking of that, the one of the few my first R-rated movie. This is one I didn't have to fight for. There's another one I love sharing the story. Is anybody seen in the chat? If you are you seen this thing? It's called "I Love You to Death."
Heard of it?
Yeah. So what that's about is it's based on a true story actually. Basically, that this one dude, this Italian immigrant, he's running around with his wife, and she finds out she doesn't like that. So she doesn't like all that deceptiveness. So she says, "Okay, I'm going to off my husband," but she tries like 5 times and he keeps surviving. So, and it's based on a true story. It's like, and I didn't, it wasn't until I was probably like 20 years old. And I didn't understand until then, like why they let me see that because I was about 10 when I saw that. And the reason why they did is because it's actually a very dry comedy. There's actually not that many F-bombs. It's not like a terribly violent movie. It's not even for like being about adultery. It's not got like sexual content in it, but because of that, like so much of that movie goes over a kid's head. So that's why they let me see that is. And she's Tracy Ullman is the wife in that. Kevin Kline is the husband. She's the wife. Like who else is in it? Like William Hurt and Keanu Reeves are a couple of the guys they hire. They kill him. Also, River Phoenix was one of the last things he did before he died. So, yeah, it's actually
I remember that video she did with Paul McCartney. They don't know. Yeah, it was actually supposed to be diversity, but it wasn't taken that way. People just took it for yeah, I remember that.
Oh yeah, like I said, guys, like go back and watch. I'm telling you, it's like there's, I mean, probably like 9 out of 10 skits on that show would not fly today.
Matt TV was trying to get taken off the air.
Yeah,
Matt TV was trying to get sued. They were trying. I will never believe that they weren't just trying to just fuck with evil, because they did Raging Rudolph at Christmas time, and the animation was similar enough. I mean, I could tell the difference, but I'm watching
to the Rankin Bass Rudolph.
Yeah, and it's about it's bad. And the snowman's like our De Niro character, so he's telling you the story. It's almost like a Bronx. It's a mafia thing, and he would do The Godfather, and then the abominable snowman would take off the heads of one of the elves and stick it on top of the tree. He wasn't fucking around. They were trying to get fired. Some of the parodies that they did pushed a lot of people the wrong way. They did not sit down and talk with people. They just parodied your show, and they weren't pulling punches when they did it. Nat TV lasted quite a while, but I always thought that every episode I watched that show, that was the last show. I'm like, oops, that did it. Canceled. Your studio's getting a call from another studio. No, they lasted about 4 or 5 years for that show.
Yeah, that was kind of the where Key and Peele got their start. Jordan Peele and Michael Key. His best skit on there was always Coach Hines. I loved him as Coach Hines. He was hysterical as Coach Hines.
I remember Bret Hart was on that show because he had been going on this feud with the guy, Will something. He put him in the sharpshooter on the show.
Yeah,
Will Sasso. Will Sasso
is Steven Seagal. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, then, yeah. Of course. Yeah, we all know about Steven Seagal and how. Yeah. how much he opens himself up for parody in a lot of ways.
He's just the last
Will
Boy Scout
Sass was a really good Jesse Ventura impression.
that was an underrated Bruce Willis movie. Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans, Last Boy Scout. That was actually a really good movie. I remember seeing that. Yeah, I love Matt TV too, Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron says, yeah. Well, okay. So we found some sketch comedy that William actually likes.
Well, I watch sketch comedy later on in Saturday Night Live. I don't watch the whole thing. The only thing I watch out of Saturday Night Live are the cold openings, and that's usually during an election year, and the weekend updates. And if the musical guest is somebody I like, other than that, I speed through it. I'm gonna get you, sucker. That's more buffoonery, but it was funny. Fly Guy. My bitch better have my money, not all, not half, but all my cash, or my foot's gonna, yeah. And then they were chasing him down when he had goldfish in his shoes. They were breaking.
Lamar, the voice of Green Lantern, to starting at Mad TV. Yeah, again, a lot of these, a lot of the sketch comedy shows from the '90s. Yeah, they gave a lot of people a leg up in their early career. But again, Jim Carrey, like you said, he and part of that was because he was the only white dude on In Living Color, so it's like pretty easy to stand out that way. I mean, literally, that was like his gimmick. He was the white guy.
Yeah, he was the only white guy on there, except the cameraman. Mr. Fox didn't give a fuck and would show stuff like when animals attack, world's wildest chases, the alien autopsy, and UFOs. Yeah, they were doing that in the mid '90s, but they just started. Like I said, once they got a hold of football, baseball, and everything else, NASCAR, they just stopped caring about everything else. They just did not, they didn't back anything else with that, except X-Files, because X-Files they had no choice.
Yeah,
Robert Townsend. I remember Robert Townsend growing up with him.
Damon was also incredible in Bamboozled. Yeah.
All right, I think we're gonna end it on that note. This Saturday, guys, 2 p.m., same bat channel, same bat time. We are going to do
Army of Thieves.
Army of Thieves. So look for that graphic. It'll be up soon. Hey, it stopped raining. Hallelujah. So look for that graphic. We are at $5,550, which is great. Every dollar we get doing that is a dollar towards 10 grand. Just imagine our little shoebox show with its meager following. I love you all, by the way. I love all you guys here, but we don't have thousands of followers. We don't have a lot of these connections that a lot of these places are doing that have built over years. And we were able to raise the kind of money we raised. So, and it all goes to things like this. This is one of the most quickest reference things I can give you that where this money's going. But one of these days, I'm going to get somebody from AFSB on there, and they can explain to you from where this money once it leaves your credit card or your debit card to where it makes it stop. Because I really would like for one of them to sell you, because me telling you is one thing, but the people inside the organization expressing where it comes from will be a whole lot thing. So, all right, Brad, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Vero. You can find me here and there on Facebook. Of course, I got all my writing, my journalistic career. You guys can check out online. And of course, I'm here to be either blamed for things or to shed the laundry of my childhood of not having to fight for R-rated movies when I was a kid. You're on the Side by Center.
There you go. All right, you can just Google me. Or go to the sci-fi-center.com. All my social media is there. I will see you guys. I wasn't supposed to be here tonight, but I had a burst of energy, and then because the rain made me angry, I needed to let off some steam. So I will see you guys tomorrow, and hopefully a rain-free Tuesday.
Later, guys.